Welcome to the Monday Monologue. This week's topic, know when to walk away. Sometimes we get so involved in a project that we just don't want to stop. And especially if we're working on trying to diagnose a problem and we get stuck on something and it just stops making sense. And we're scratching our head going, what the hell's going on? When you get to a point like that, sometimes the best thing to do is just walk away and go do something else for a little while. Prime example, I was working on this A12, made some great progress last night. I was up late, started seeing it was going in a really good direction, ended up staying up till about 3 a.m. working on dialing in the shade feedback resistor and stuff, and started seeing these super low distortion numbers. Got all that done, went to bed. Well, this morning I came down and was going to run a scope test on it with my analog signal generator, my oscilloscope, and look at the waveforms and stuff. And when I hooked it up to the output, set the signal generator to the right input, the amp didn't have enough drive. And I was like, oh crap, no wonder the distortion was so low. It's not amplifying enough. And so then I went inside and started checking the voltage peak to peak on the grid of the output tube, and was only getting about 15 volts when I should be seeing 40 or more. And I was like, what is going on? This thing should be doing better than this. And so I started looking at my charts, and I started looking at, my 6SQ7 amp, and it's like, well, maybe it needs a bigger plate load resistor. So I changed the plate load resistor, didn't make any difference. Disconnected the feedback, didn't make any difference. And I'm like, wow, man, I'm in a dead end. This, what I thought was the fix clearly isn't going to work. And I started running through my head, doing, do I need to, do a two-stage front end on this amp, and do I need to do this, that, and the other? And like I said, none of it was making any sense. So I decided to go play one of my video games. I like playing World of Warcraft, so I went and played it for a little while, came back, and then thought to myself, hey, let me check the other channel and see what it's doing to make sure it's still putting out what it's supposed to. So I checked the other channel, and now it wasn't making any power. And I'm going, I didn't change anything that really should have had much of an impact at all on the other channel. There was only one resistor I changed that they shared, and if anything, should have given it more drive. Then I looked over at my scope and went, I had it set on 0.1 volts per division instead of 1 volt per division on the input. And that's why it didn't have any drive. So then I got my solder iron, put everything back like it was last night, hooked this up, then turned it up where it actually was putting 3 volts peak to peak into the amp. Everything worked perfect. And I'm just like, what a brain fart. But sometimes that happens, guys, and don't beat yourself up. We all do it. And again, these things are pretty resilient to doing things wrong. You can put some pretty wrong value resistors in the wrong places, etc., and nothing's going to get damaged. And if it does, the worst thing that happens is, you could smoke an output transformer or arc out a tube or something like that. The main thing is always follow the safety protocols. It's not the end of the world if you burn up a capacitor or you have an output transformer, smoke comes out of it. But it is the end of the world if you electrocute yourself. So I can't stress that highly enough to be careful out there, guys. This stuff is dangerous. And as long as you're smart and realize how dangerous this stuff is, you'll be fine. But never forget that lethal voltage is inside here. So next thing I want to talk about today is I did get sidetracked off my preamp project. This A12 came in, and I initially thought mistakenly that this was going to be an easy fix, and as you've seen, I ended up basically gutting the inside of this thing to get it to work. I did find a solution. I was talking about trying some 7591 tubes, and a viewer pointed out, which I don't know why I didn't notice this, the pinout's not even the same. And so that wasn't a option like the 6v6 tubes of, sticking something in externally without taking the amp apart. And I decided that if you're going to have to get out the soldering iron and open the thing up, I might as well try to make the tubes and transformers and everything this thing comes with work. And as you'll see in the video soon, all this stuff works fine, guys. The only thing I had to replace was the rectifier tube. I put a 5AR4 in it. You could probably get away without doing that, but I just hate those little cheap China rectifiers. PS Vane 12AX7, PS Vane EL34. Y'all are going to be blown away with the numbers that I got out of this thing. Actually got decent frequency response out of these output transformers by just rewiring the inside of it. So excited about that. But back to our preamp thing. I started thinking about it. I don't really have an amplifier that needs a preamp to drive it. So how am I really going to test these things? And so I decided that I need to put a simple project together for somebody that's new to tube amplification. And so I'm going to put this little, it's called a Spud Amplifier. And basically all it is it's the output stage of a tube amplifier. And it requires a preamp to drive it. So uses EL84s or 6BQ5, same tube. Uses a pair of those. Got some inexpensive music. Let's see, what's the name of that place? Musical power supplies. And $30 each for some 10-watt output transformers that should work good, and they're available. You don't have to wait for 4 months like you do with EdCore. So we're going to give a pair of those a try. It's going to be tube rectified, and it's going to be a super simple project for somebody new to doing this. I think it'll be a lot easier than anything else we've done so far, and it'll allow you to do some fabrication practice and that kind of thing, and then we'll have an amplifier that we can use to test the 3 preamps we have. So haven't forgot about that. As you can see, got my lovely preamp here all finished, my little Skunky Designs one, but got 2 other ones, and again, I want to have an amp that needs a preamp to really test these correctly. And so that's coming up. The other thing I've had a lot of questions about is how do I hook headphones up to a tube amplifier? And up to this point, I was like, I got no idea. I'm not a headphone user. So bought a pair of cheap headphones, got the parts coming to build a little switch box that you can hook up to a tube amplifier that allows you to choose between driving headphones or driving your speakers. And so that's another real simple project that we can put together it's a passive box, so there's no power transformers. So that's a really safe build for somebody to do for their first project too. So those are 2 kind of quick projects that I want to get done soon. And obviously I want to get this thing behind me. I probably shouldn't have moved it ahead in the queue in front of this preamp thing, but it really seemed to be a popular video series, and a lot of people have come out talking about, hey, do this, do that, I did this. Guys, this thing puts out 5 clean watts now without changing anything except a few resistors and adding 1 capacitor. Freaking amazing. Anyway, we'll be doing that soon, and I'm just excited about all this stuff. So hope you are too. If you're enjoying my channel, please subscribe, please like the video, and we'll see you next week for the Monday Monologue.